so Street Fighter Five is only 300,000 units away from being the best-selling Street Fighter within the series. So this is praiseworthy of Street Fighter Five because we know where it came from and where is that now. So and really, how they've gone above and beyond to really like sell their product and make it the best it can be in these latter times. Sound like my daughter don't agree, but what it's done in these recent times, I mean, it's really, I mean, my goodness, season 5 and where we're at now is really like just leaps and bounds away from where we were in the beginning, and when they would just gave us like the chicken scratch of a game, just like, hey man, here go the bare bones. I mean, you can press the X button and it'll do a move. So yeah, so what do you guys feel about this? Do you think Street Fighter 5 do you think Street Fighter 5 deserves to probably be the highest selling game in the series? Um Give it to you, Mr. Gaming Lift. What do you think about this accolade of Street Fighter 5?
Um, so it's kind of crazy when you look at the numbers. I think that they said that this was just, I guess, from the base versions, if I'm not mistaken. So the base version of Street Fighter Five in comparison to like the base versions of the other games. So I mean, I feel like at this point, honestly, I really wasn't even keeping track of like the numbers that this game had done. I kind of just in my head just knew that it had generally done well, like over the years, especially from the expansions. Even though it had a rough start initially when it first dropped. But yeah, I mean the numbers it's kind of cool. I mean, if it does trump Street Fighter 2, that'd be cool. I know Rex Sun said at this point he feels like it'd be kind of hard for them maybe to sell another 300,000 copies. I mean the game is I would say I'm gonna go out and say the game is probably coming to the end of its lifespan. Just judging that Street Fighter Six has got to be on its way. I mean, we already have a character that's pretty much Capcom kind of said is supposed to be the face of Capcom moving forward, and probably going to be the face of Street Fighter Six or one of the faces of Street Fighter Six. With Luke being in the roster, I mean it's cool. It's I mean it's done numbers from, them pushing it competitively. So it's definitely done its thing in that regards with Capcom Cup, and them doing a pretty decent job of trying to keep the game alive. And as always, every Street Fighter, I don't think you can name one Street Fighter that hasn't had like 1,000 renditions of it, especially when judging from the main base games. Like Street Fighter 2 had multiple versions, Street Fighter 3 multiple versions, Street Fighter 4 multiple versions. So it's just like it's always going to be a thing. I don't even ever think that there will be a Street Fighter without multiple versions. Like Street Fighter 6 come out, I would I would not put money on it to say that it would only be just that version and nothing else. It's just definitely gonna be a Super Street Fighter 6, uh Super Street Fighter 6 Turbo, Ultra, Mega, Omega, Gamma, Wave, Supercharged. It's gonna be some different version of Street Fighter 6. Um but yeah, I mean it's kind of dope. It says that Street Fighter 2 is Capcom's eighth bestseller, like overall. So if Street Fighter 5 manages to get these extra 300,000 copies, it will take place and be Capcom's eighth bestseller. So I mean that's a pretty good accolade to achieve. Street Fighter 5 is definitely not one of my more liked games. Definitely like Street Fighter 4 more.
Dang, for
Um
real? I thought you loved the game.
I mean, that's a strong word. But it's the game was cool. I mean, they added a lot of characters. They really, I think they did a good job of like taking like new content and put into the game because I mean, let's be honest, the game came out in a very poor state. I mean, it was fun to play. It was a cool game, but just judging off like a game from having a hiatus for that long from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5 and then coming out, not even having like an arcade mode, that's just a basic thing of a fighting game kind of. So, they it took a while, but they did get a lot of content, has a lot of characters in it now. There's been some talks of the Street Fighter Five's final edition with the characters on the front. There's been a whole lot of discussion about that and the cover art and all that, but that's another topic. But yeah, 300,000 away. Will they get it? I don't know. Maybe some people will buy the game. Maybe some people will really buy the game now that it's like got all the DLC content in it. With the new version that's coming out. So we'll just have to wait and see, man. Like I said, this is definitely not one of my favorite Street Fighters. I do have a bit of fondness for the game. But hey, man, hopefully, maybe after this comes up, maybe Street Fighter 6 can just come in and punch the whole world in the face and maybe be the number one selling Capcom game of all time. We'll have to just see about that, I guess.
Or what you talking about? Big Luke finna come in Street Fighter 5, bro, and take it over the top, bro. Go ahead, E.
I mean, it would be kind of interesting if he did, though, wouldn't it? Like for like this like one character to come in, like be like, "All right, man, this is it, bro. 300,000 copies, let's go!" Like that would be kind of interesting.
Big
I
Luke.
I don't know if I think that's going to happen, but it would be pretty interesting. It'd be like, oh man, like I don't even know who this guy is, but yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. I mean, it would be cool if they did, but I don't know. I'd like it if they did. That would be really really cool. I mean, Street Fighter Five, like saying, like came out and it was not in the best state. It was not in a great state when it came out, and right now, like they're pretty much, I think, as like in their the apex of where they're going to be, where they're going to get as far as this game is concerned. I think it's taken them a while to get here. I think like Street Fighter Five really started off on the back foot, especially because like because of the like the I guess the burying of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It had to come out a little bit earlier or than I think they would have liked it to, and you just like this, just put something out there and just put something out, and then it comes out, it's not great, and everybody's like, oh man, this is terrible, but it's like that cause and effect, right? So at this point, we're looking at a Street Fighter Five and like it's basically almost its final form, and I mean, I think the game is cool. I don't really play it as often as other people do, but I do think that it's definitely a worthwhile game to at least pick up and play with your friends. Uh, I'm just I feel like it's there's something crazy would have to happen in order for it to like. I mean, it would have to have an extreme explosion of popularity, I think, in order for it to be like, all right, it's going to get like 300,000 more. You move 300,000 more units. Like that's a lot of units, man. I mean, especially not even like, I mean, 300,000 units at the beginning wouldn't have been as much because you have the Capcom label on it. It's Street Fighter title. It's like it'll be a new title. It's new and fresh, and everybody wants to play. Everybody's trying to get in on it. But at this point in time, it would if it would have like a huge explosion like that, it would be really. I don't want to say weird. I don't think weird is the term that I would like to use. I would say unlikely. Because like we're like saying, it's like the end of the life cycle. People are kind of looking forward to Street Fighter 6, and sometimes you're looking forward to the next game. You'd be like, wow, why am I going to buy this game when I could play the next game? But at the same time, there are people who play like the older games of another, like played this game in order to prepare for the next game. So who knows? So there might be a bunch of people out there who are like, I want to get on Street Fighter 6, but I don't know. I haven't played any of the other Street Fighters. Street Fighter 5's out right now. Let me get Street Fighter 5 and learn how to play the game before the next Street Fighter game comes out. Maybe something like that. I don't know. But so far, it just doesn't seem very likely. It would be cool, but it just does not seem very likely.